I think in a fragmented ecosystem, how we ensure that we're building audiences that are durable is that it's rooted in identity, right? We talk a lot about our identity spine at Dentsu, and we stop thinking about segments as static segments, and we start thinking about the signals that we can ingest into the identity spine so that that understanding is durable and consistent. I think when we start building audiences that are rooted in channels and tactics, we lose sight of who we're actually targeting. So we always kind of say, if you can't replicate or measure the audience you've activated 6 months later, it's not a durable audience.
Maggie, Martech stacks are bigger than ever. What's the one capability that actually moves performance, and what's just adding more complexity?
Yeah, I think most tech stacks are complex because they are focused on execution instead of focused on making decisions. So I do think that one of the things that's going to make sure you're focused on the right things is pointing your tech stack and making sure it's asking and answering some really pointed questions like, who is this person or this moment? What decision should I be making? And what did I learn about it to grow in the future? And I think when you can focus on those things, you start focusing on a Martech stack that's going to decision for you versus perhaps, be over complex. And I think the other thing is organizations you see that have over complex architectures, oftentimes it's the process and ways of working breakdown that force that to be. So they've got great technology and they just don't have the right ways to use it.
So Maggie, we live in a world where outcomes are the ultimate everyone KPI. So as clients, obviously expect and demand the real concrete outcomes, how is the role of activation shifting from delivery to decisioning?
I love this question because it's such a pointed one at Dentsu X. We talk a lot about experience planning. So I think activation in the old world was an endpoint, a delivery point. You passed off a plan and they executed in market. I think activation, and we think about this at Dentsu X, is much more of like a catalyst engine today. Now they need to think about what signals are in the marketplace to make that decision on. How do I make the decision and how do I set up the technology to do so? So instead of just being experts in a channel or a platform, they now need to be experts in identity, experts in measurement, experts in all of the things that help bring that cohesively together and decision for the future.
It's safe to say that privacy issues and signal loss both have reshaped targeting. What's the new currency, Maggie, of effective activation?
Yeah, I think it's tough, right? In a fragmented ecosystem, there's always going to be the walled gardens. There's always going to be breakdown. I think when we can root our audiences in identity-based audiences, where you go next from there always is grounded in that same source of truth. So I think as we look forward, we have Dentsu.audiences that really underpins most of what we do in Dentsu X. And ensuring that we leverage it first there, it can create a insight-driven audience that's a data-driven linear plan, right? It can create an audience that then we're actually tapping into the walled gardens and we have partner ID matches with them. So if you use that as a source of truth, while it might not be able to be deterministically measured across the board, more often than not, you're giving yourself a closed ecosystem that you can really experiment and learn a lot in.
Maggie, I think of your role as head of activation as constantly having to look forward and to think about what trends are emerging, what innovations are likely to come. So with that in mind, is there any particular trend or innovation or advance that you're really closely watching this year?
Yeah, this might be unfair because this was much of what the Beet Retreat was about this year. But I do think agents are going to be a make or break. At Dentsu, we talk about last year being this year of testing, 2026 being the year of destruction, which is kind of a scary word to say, but you really need to break down processes and rebuild with agents at the center. I think what will be really interesting is kind of the make or breaks of this year. Who are the people that have operationalized agents into their ways of working? How have you found out how the human in the loop is going to work with that? Because I think the ones who win at the end of the year are not going to be the ones that have deployed the most agents. The ones who win are going to be the ones that have deployed the agents to make the decisions that matter.